My opponent is starting to buy out and get temp range. I do get temp range, but I don't buy out. I realized my stupid mistake. The Wasps are killing the Phoenixes now fairly effectively. That Vulcan is doing what it can. I wish it could tank longer, but I messed up, of course. That Vulcan staying alive could make a world of difference. My opponent still has a ground force, so my carry Wasps lose to his carry Wasps. The marksmen are taking out some of his carry Wasps, but overall it is a massive Wasp swarm that survives and a lot of XP denied from my units. Now I'm bleeding out slowly but surely. I need to turn this around. Orbital Javelin comes out, but honestly, look into this board. What can you reasonably Orbital Javelin? Probably here. My opponent does pick the Orbital Javelin up. And he puts it in the worst spot he could have even hoped to put it. Other than into entirely free space. I pick the redeployment. I'm starting to realize that I need to no longer go for this. I'm finally selling the correct unit here. And dropping that on this Vulcan, who now has almost 150,000 health. And I think I looked at that number and checked it and thought, what is that no, I was basically reminded that I hadn't even gotten basic tower upgrades. Not tower upgrades, basic enhancements. I think I go for enhancements in this round, if I'm not mistaken. I do end up dropping the smoke, but most of it is not going to land, most of what is viable. I don't even have much of a ground force, so what am I going to really lose to smoke? If he had it, or what were I to lose to smoke? I do drop another Vulcan. I now also buy out and get my temp upgrades. 2 more Vulcans. 1 here, 1 here. But I think I reposition that if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm not repositioning it yet. I'm kind of focusing my Wasp force. So this Vulcan is going to take about half its HP in damage, and I think nothing else is going to get hurt even. Yeah, nothing really got hurt. My carry Wasps here in order to face his carry Wasps. The Vulcan here to kinda tank a bit. Unfortunately, it locks onto an opponent Fire Badger, so the Arclight is all the chaff clear that I have for now. And some Wasps, but I did successfully finally push through here. And I did buy enough time so that the imminent tower debuff is not going to do a whole lot. Mind that I will have a tower debuff in short time, and that means my carry Wasps can actually trade against his carry Wasps, and finally I take a round again. It still is not looking great. Mustangs come out. My opponent does pick the Mustangs. At this point, I think it is a very good choice. I pick the Mustangs as well. I do now have the ability to get level 8 carry Wasps. My opponent is sitting at level 9. Is he going to use intensive training on those? I'm not sure. He goes into shield. Now I don't have shield, I have EMP instead. Which I think I would need to test. But I think this makes my Wasps inferior in Wasp on Wasp action, but a lot better when fighting other units since they can turn off the opponent's techs. I do end up going for a pull with a unit that I have that just has a lot of HP. There is, of course, all the buying out and stuff coming out on my opponent's side. What I'm really surprised is that these Mustangs have no techs. I invested into both range and area specialization. His money, of course, went into the shields here, which I think is a decent pickup, but is it going to be enough? I do get my temporary upgrades as well. And he leveled these Wasps here with the intensive training. I did drop some other upgrades. And we will see what happens here. Now, a lot of these Wasps are just getting pulled. And that means these level 3 carry Wasps are going to beat these. And may have at least a bit of chance at delaying them. We'll see what exactly happens. I have some additional crawlers here just to delay some of my opponent's wasps. I'm quite amazed that my opponent has not yet gone for any kind of flank. Even the level 2 armored Vulcan, once the wasps lock on, there is just no help. The Mustangs are doing whatever they can, but they are still stuck on ground chaff, which is not what I want them to be at. However, I have successfully pushed through here, and I'm getting a tower debuff that is basically for naught, for the most part. However, I still have a lot of units, and there's not that much on my opponent's side, so the wasps kind of trade against each other, but my wasps end up coming out on top. Mustangs can level the Evil's Mustang production line. There's also Acid Blast and Deployment Specialist. I go for the Mustang deployment line. I mean, I have another Vulcan that stayed alive for the entire duration. There is Acid coming out. Not even sure if I remember it in this match that Acid was coming out. Like, when the matches start to get into the double-digit rounds, I'm definitely one of those people who start to forget the most basic things. However, as my opponent, I am now sitting on level 9 carry wasps. I have not lost the wasp arms race. And my opponent's Mustangs didn't level, but mine did. And these Mustangs can definitely do some harm. Temporary upgrades, but not buying out yet at least. I am of course buying out and getting absolutely everything. I do get oil. Throwing it right in the face of my opponent, even though a combat power came out this round and it's likely that he's going to shield. But then again, what does he really have to shield? I end up going for Incendiary and more Vulcans. And I did not shield against the Acid. But honestly, does it matter that much? It's an air war anyway. Chaff war definitely in my favor this time around on this side. And here there is Vulcans who will still last at least a bit against these wasps who are not level 9. That ended up being way closer of a fight than I had hoped. Wasp numbers, I think, are in my opponent's favor, but I have more other units and I have a tower debuff, but my opponent is going to have a tower debuff next. It ends up being my opponent who wins, but only with 4 or 5 carry wasps, so it's not a lot of damage. Acid is still on the ground though. War Factory came out. And I'm not even sure what I picked, but I think it might have been the Steel Boys with Mech Div or something like that. Oh no, I think I picked the Rhinos here. Yeah. I picked the Rhinos and thought, you know, a lot of my opponent's units are fairly far forward. Maybe I can boom something. So I end up going here and trying to boom some units. My opponent is going for a double War Factory with Missile Interceptor, definitely hoping to finish it, hoping to stop his chaff from instantly dying. I do end up going triple tech on these Mustangs as well with my Wasps. I don't have any source of EMP yet, and I don't think I realistically... No, I actually do have the money. I had the money. I end up throwing levels into this tower, hoping that I'm not going to lose to that tower debuff again. Now I think I maybe should have moved this Vulcan away. Or sold it. I think that and buying EMP on the Wasps. Matching level 4 carry Wasps with other level 4 carry Wasps. In the aftermath of this, I actually want to test out if these Wasps can beat these Wasps with EMP. All the upgrades have come out, War Factories on both sides. Are they going to be enough? This Rhino dies, it takes about half the health out. Unfortunately, this Rhino did not do anything really. Now this is a mass of HP in my way. But the carry wasps should be able to deal with that very quickly once they lock on. They have locked on. However, that War Factory really wins this side. And my opponent also wins the other side. And it's just game over. All in all, I'm really not that sure what happened in the last round, but I think the combination of just a lot of chaff, like he did something that did a good amount of stuff, and I did something that did almost nothing. And that is the difference the last round actually had here. A beautiful Wasp Madness match. I didn't do much damage to my opponent, but it still lasted 8 rounds. It also lasted 8 rounds. It lasted 11 rounds. And I think all in all, this is just a very enjoyable match to watch, hopefully. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to win, and I lost a lot of MMR here. Alright, let's test out which of these Wasps is superior. The final attack being EMP or Shield. This is... I'm not sure if I had a range specialist in that match. I don't think so, though. The answer apparently is Shield is the better tech. Just gonna do it again, but it looked pretty obvious that Shield was superior. Yeah, Shield is definitely a lot better than EMP here. Alright, that is something to think about. Maybe I need Shield on my Wasps instead of EMP. But I still like being able to turn off the techs of other potential units. Because, like, Shields makes the Wasp stronger, but EMP makes your army stronger. And I think I'd rather have a stronger army than just stronger Wasps. Of course, in the last match that would probably not have tipped the scales. Anyway, thanks for watching and listening. And until next time, I hope.